I'm going to do the best that I can here. It's not going to be very technically sound, but there's an important family history that I'm going to try to capture. So soon I'm going to play the voice of the person known to us and our family as beloved Uncle Jeff. His real name is Leon Boyce McFadden, and this is a picture of him. Let's see here. And Uncle Jeff was born in 1925 in rural Arkansas near Hope and passed away in Omaha, Nebraska, 2017. So once again, the next voice that you will hear hopefully is Uncle Jeff, and he's being interviewed by my brother Luther. And then as the sound clip plays, I will also try to share some interesting family pictures. Hopefully, everybody will get information and enjoy this.
And I was getting 16 cents per hour.
Was that considered good money?
Huh?
Was that good money, 16 cents an hour?
No, that was kind of poor money. That probably was about the same that they were paying around there because this was at a sawmill.
Okay.
And I was known as what they call a block setter there.
A block setter.
Block setter.
There was a sawmill by Aunt Dorothy's house back in Texarkana. It wasn't the same place, was it?
No, this is over in Hope. This was the name of it was a basket company in Hope. They made bushel baskets and things. Whatever you put in the bushel basket.
Okay. But it turns out you were making good money. I mean, you're making money. You had a job. Why would you leave? Why would you leave Hope when you got a job?
Oh, I left Hope. I got kind of tired of this discrimination because I got slightly, got unused to it when I was overseas. Of course, when I was overseas with the young fellas, I was 18 when I went in. And hear people talk about this and where they was from and so forth. And I said, then we talked about discrimination and so forth that we had in Arkansas. And I said, well, I think I'll just get away from here. I'll go to the state where there's a unit camp, one house. And I said, and what really moved me as soon as it did, I was block sitting at the sawmill. And the sawyer got sick.
Who got sick?
The sawyer, the guy that was sawing, he was the sawyer, and I was the block setter.
Okay.
Actually, block setter, he moved the log up to where if he wants to cut 1/8, he moves it up 1/8, and if he wants to cut 2, then the block setter he has this machine that he has this lever that he raises up and that push the log over 1/8 or 2 inches.
Mm-hmm.
That's over to the sawyer. And every time the mill would break down, then I'd have me and the sawyer, we'd have to get in there and fix it. We'd dig on a hole, put the belt on, we fixed it. And he got sick. And the superintendent of the plant, he saw it about a week and a half till the sawyer got well. The guy was sawing got well. And when the sawyer got well, he decided he didn't want to saw anymore. Then he went and got a young sawyer, maybe a year and a half younger than me. I was about 23 then, 22. Then he hired a white sawyer. I thought that I should have been moved up to that sawyer job.
Oh.
He brought that young white boy that morning, and he saw I worked that day. I set block for him that day. And that evening we got off 4 o'clock. I didn't go back because I thought I was being misused. I thought I should have been my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't go back. And I had a brother working there, Clyde. Oh, he offered me more money. Come back. He offered this and that. I know I'm not going back there.
Mm.
And within about no more than 2 weeks, I done got myself together and I was heading to Nebraska. Now, listen, when I got to Nebraska, well, I've never been here before, never been in here. So I had to leave home. I went to St. Louis. I have an uncle in St. Louis. So we got to St. Louis in the morning. So I stayed there all day to get on the train about 6 o'clock in the evening. Then that would put me here in the morning so I could look around and see, try to find me some place to live. I'm totally lost. Don't know a soul in this thing. So I found some place to live, and so that we got here about 10 in the morning. And one guy came with me. His name was Louis Jones, and he didn't have the least idea that I was going until I quit the sawmill. And Clyde had told him that's what I was going to do. And so he said, well, I'll go with him. So he talked with me, and I said, yeah, you can go if you like. And so he came with me. And anyway, I maneuvered to St. Louis. Then on the train about 6 o'clock in the evening, we got here about 10 in the morning.
So,
That was at Union Station, Missouri Pacific.
you mentioned being overseas. Where were you overseas?
Well, the first place I was overseas, I went to a little island they call the New Hebrides Island. That's in the name of that was the New Hebrides Island.
Uh-huh.
And the place, the little place that we were stationed at was named E. Friday. Oh, I done got ahead of myself. You want to know about the military.
Well, you okay. So you saw something in the military that told you that you'd be treated better someplace else.
Yeah, but you were listening to guys, there's guys I'm from New York, I'm from Chicago, I'm from here and there, you know how they talk. Trying to find out really, to be honest, they lived just as bad as we were in the slums in New York and Detroit. And when I got to really know them, I just better shape in Arkansas, clean air at least. In the country, people who grew our own food, we better off. They all stacked up on top of each other there, but that was their life, so that I didn't care for. And I forgot to back to Nebraska when I got here. To be honest, I actually had really ran into segregation.
That's when you ran into segregation?
Omaha, Nebraska.
You ran into segregation in Omaha?
I ran into segregation.
For example, what segregation did you see? What did you experience?
The segregation that I had when I got here?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I got here that morning, so I walked downtown, and I looked it up on 16th and Farnham. I saw a black lady standing on the corner. I asked her, where did the colored people live? I used the word color thing. Where did the colored people live here in Nebraska, here in Omaha? She said, just stand right here. There'll be a bus come along. It says 24th and May. And you get on it, then you'll take the car. I was looking out, it was in September, I was looking out, and I saw quite a few people standing around on the street, young people, old people. And that's where I got out there, got off the bus there, 24th and Clark.
In Clark?
Clark.
Clark?
That's about 10, 12, 13 miles, 10, 12 blocks from Cumming on 24th Street.
Clark?
It's north on 24th Street from Cumming. It's Clark's about 10 or 12 blocks.
I'll look that up. Okay, go ahead.
And that's where I got off, me and Louis. And so I said, well, now we got to start looking for a place to live. So I walked off one way, he walked another way. So we went to a pool hall right across the street, and so we go meet back there. And so I got over on Grace Street. Clark is 1 block south of Grace. I went right down 24th Street. I got on Grace Street. I was going up. I got about 22nd in Grace. There was a young man. I never will forget his name. His name was Thomas. And I stopped at, he's a young person about my age. I asked him, where do people live here? I found a place to live. He said, you just in town? I said, yes, I'm just coming to town. I need somewhere to live. And he said, well, I'll show you. He said, we're on 27th in Decatur. He said, I'll go with you. And we walked from 22nd and Gray back to 24th Street, which is about a block south of Decatur. We walked up 27th in Decatur, went into that house, and there was Mother Peace. I never will forget her, Mother Peace. So she rented me a room. And so Thomas said, you looking for a job? I said, yes, I'd like to have a job. I need a job. He said, well, I work at the Cutting Packing Company. He said, if you would be here on 24th in Decatur, about 6:30 tomorrow morning, when we get on the bus together, and I'll take you to the packing where I work.
You know, all this is right around Kellum School. I'm realizing that.
Huh?
I'm realizing all this is around Kellum School. Real close.
Okay.
Yeah, real close to Kellum.
This is, you mean Clark?
Yeah.
It's still north of Kellum, yeah? It's about 6, 7 blocks. It's Kellum Pool, then we got Hamilton, and then we got about 4 blocks still north on 24th Street, that's Clark.
Okay, I got you.
And then Thomas was asking me that I want a job. I told him yes. He said, meet me here at 6:30 tomorrow morning, and I'll take you to where I work. I'll show you the employment office. So I did. Went right to 33rd and Q Street. Got off with Thomas. We walked down the hill to the Cutting Packing Company. He went over there to work. He said, you go ahead to the employment office. I went into the employment office. I got hired that morning.
How much did they pay you?
They paid $1.05 per hour.
So you're making 16 cents in Hope,
Correct.
and then you paid $1.05 in Omaha.
$1.05.
And could you? I mean, it's $1.05, but wasn't it a lot more expensive to live in Omaha than in Hope?
Well, yes, it wasn't a whole lot more expensive. I believe rent was about $7 or $8 a week. So that was about $40 a week, and the Hope salary, I believe was that 16 to 40 hours. I believe that was about $16, $17 a week. So the difference was about from 40 to about from 16, 17 to 40.
So you're talking about maybe $25 a week difference.
You're right, correct.
Yeah.
And then I got lucky because they had about a 3-month strike before I got here. I got here shortly after the strike. They were going to strike. I learned after I was here they were going to strike for about 3 months. And they went from, I think it was 70 cents to $1.05.
So were you paid the same amount as white people?
Yes, I paid the same amount doing the same job, yes.
Okay, but you said there's a lot more segregation in Omaha. In segregation,
Yes.
you're talking about housing, right?
Where come from? We didn't have no place to go out. Just say I worked right there in Cutting, right beside white guys. We worked together and so forth. Then we had to walk up the street to get on the street to get on the bus, up to the bus line. And on the bus line, they had 4 bars there, right on the corner, right in this little area. 2 for white and 2 for black. When we walk up here, been working together, talking all day. Well, I think I'll have a beer. And he walked in this door, and I couldn't go in that door.
So
I had to go in the next door.
So what you're saying is that all the stuff that I see about the South, where you got white entry doors and black entry doors, that wasn't just the South. That was also Omaha.
Then Omaha, they just didn't have the signs on them in here. We walk right through like they won't do it. You can't go in here. You can't go in there. They let you know you can't go, but they wouldn't have those signs. So I ran into that.
You didn't have that hope?
Well, no, we couldn't go in the place in Hope, but they had signs in Hope. Colors here, colors there, but in Omaha they didn't have no signs. You walk up there and they'd have to tell you, right, well, you can't come in here.
Okay.
And then Q Street in South Omaha, get on the bus, come back where I live, North Omaha, and the whole population, maybe 10 or 12, 4 or 5 here, 4, but the vote was 75 to 80% of the population, of the black population, live between Cummings and Lake Street. 75% of us live between Cummings and Lake.
And what? From Cummings and Lake and what? Like 16 to what? 30th?
No, you have 16th Street, but 16th is a little far. We didn't go on 60. We said that. We said 20th Street and 30th Street.
20th and 30th.
Frost Boulevard, that's 19th Street. Frost Boulevard and 30th Street. That was the population. Long Cummings, Carwell, Hamilton, Decatur, Franklin.
You know, you telling me that? That's where I grew up.
Black lived in that area.
That's where I grew up, so I know the area.
Yeah, but that's where we live.
Mm.
And the school was, they built Kellum after I got here. The school was long, late, and
Conestoga? No. Webster?
I didn't know about October. Long and, no, they didn't go to October. Long and late.
Webster?
No, it was up there. It was about 30th and Worth, just this side of Stage 2 on 30th Street. Oh Lord, what?
30th and
School
Worth.
that it goes over.
30th and Worth. Hold on a minute.
It's right along 30th and Worth. They find it.
Lake.
No, not Druid, you know.
Kennedy?
I was kidding.
Okay.
That was what, and the people that had been living here and went to school here, oh, they bragged about that. Oh, I went to Howard Kennedy, and that's about 30 from West. I went to Howard Kennedy. They were proud of that, and because they didn't have to go to Long and Lake, so they went up 30 from West, Howard Kennedy. That was uptown to them. They were proud of that, but bragged about it.
So, a question. When did Nana Mama come up?
She came up about in early 50s, about 50, maybe 4 or 5, right in there. Because I'm not exactly sure, because I was married to Beverly, and we got divorced 53 or 4. We separated, I don't know this 53 or 4. But then my mother came, because when we separated, I sent her home.
You said Beverly home? You said Beverly home? You said Beverly home?
We separated. I'll never send you back where I got you. I'll send you right back to Mr. Lawrence. When you bought a ticket and carried it down to the train station, put on the train. Go back home.
You know, I'm laughing. That's funny.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to her. And eventually she came back. But
I was going to say, I think I met Beverly before.
yeah, but she was born, where are you born here? Yeah, well, I came in 48. I went to Arkansas in July of 49. We married Beverly on the 5th of July. And then brought her back here.
When's Nana Mama's birthday? July 3rd or July 5th?
July 3rd.
Okay. All right. So, people started following you north. Why did they follow you?
I really don't know.
Did they know you was making a lot more money than they were?
Well, they had to because the news gets out, you know. But let's say a lot of people follow that. Lewis came along with me.
Oh, okay.
Lewis Jones, he lived out Holster, out from Florida, about 2 or 3 miles from Florida. They call it Screwdale out in those woods.
Mm.
And then we came, after him and I came, he came with me. brothers. They came.
And where they stayed when they came? Where would they live?
On, where did they live? I think they was, as far as I can remember, they got a apartment up on up on Parker Street.
Yeah, but when you first come up, I would think you don't have anything. So I'm wondering, did they like move in with you or move in with him?
No, I think they got an apartment. They do live when they came, so I think they was ready to kind of find them apartment and then look for a job. They knew because Lewis was their uncle, was the Davis's uncle.
Okay.
And so they kind of found an apartment to live, because they didn't live over there with us. We had a big apartment house. They didn't live with us.
Did anybody move in with you when they came up?
Nobody but Clyde. Clyde, he stayed with me.
Okay.
He and Beverly.
So you say Clyde. So Clyde is, for me, that's going to be Uncle Curry?
Yeah, that's him.
Okay. Okay. But you got to use a name I know.
Okay, well, Clyde lived with me.
Okay. So my mama came up, and as I understand, she left Daddy and went north, right?
Yeah, when she came up, recently when they came up, as near as I can think of right now, I believe they went over on 26th Street. I do believe.
I think you're right.
That's right. That's one block from us. Let's go right up a hill, right over to 26th Street.
So where were you living? You living on 25th?
I live on 25th Avenue.
What address is 25th Avenue?
979 North 25th Avenue.
So you're up at the top of the hill.
At the top of the hill, correct. From Spencer's on the side, on the west side of the street. You go right up to his house up the hill, and right behind the hill on 26th. That's where Reese and Johnny live. Your father live.
Do you know remember Mr. Bill? Did you know him?
Bill?
Mr. Bill. He had a bunch of dogs at the top of the street, top of 25th Avenue. You might not know him.
No, I don't forgot him.
All right, so let me think. So you know where Aunt Ussy lived, right?
Hey, who?
Aunt Mary. We call her Ussy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that was Uncle Gus's house, right?
Yeah, that was Gus, and yeah, that was his house. Well, Mary came here was, let's see, when Beverly and I separated, Mama came, and she brought Ernie, and Al Steele.
Okay, so everybody else is up here, but Mama had come up here, and Mama told me that she followed you up.
Well, she did, huh? I'm talking about my mother.
Oh, I know your mother came with Al and Ern.
That's correct, Al and Ern.
Yeah, Risa, my mama came up here because you came up. You know that, right?
Did your mother came?
She came after them?
Yeah, she came. No, she came after Mama, and then after your mother got here, then her and Johnny, and we went back down. They drove. We used his car, Reese and Johnny's car, and we went back down. Mama got here. I don't know, February, like whenever she got here. It was before the 4th. It was before Memorial Day. So Memorial Day, Mama asked me to go get the children, go get Jeannie and Al and sister, and Jeannie and Mary, and me, Rita, and Johnny. They drove. I went with them. We went down the Hope. We picked up Mary and Jean. They was in town. We picked them up off the street and came right on back. They were packed in Hope. No, you don't know, but we lived out in the country about 8 miles out there in a place called Powell. But they done contact them, and they had the gear and had the clothes and the suitcase. We got the Hope. We got them, come right on back up here. That's how they got here. But Rita had been here a little before then, and babysit Willie for a little bit.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I used to babysit Willie.
Willie's
And then,
bad boy. Willie was a bad boy, I'm sure.
yeah, well, I used to babysit Willie occasionally. Now, where were you going, on 25th Avenue or 26th Street?
25th Avenue.
You going on the avenue.
Yep.
So you was going 25th Avenue right down in front of Mama. You was on one side, my mother and Jeannie was on the other side of the street. That's
No, what I remember is, I don't remember Jeannie being there. Jeannie was gone by the time I have a memory. So up the street was Aunt Mary. But Jeannie probably did live there when I was born, okay? And of course, Grandma was across the street.
was up the street.
Yeah, up the street. Aunt Mary was living up the street when I was little.
But it's on the same street. It was up the street on the other side.
It was on 25th Avenue, same side.
25th Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that must be on 957 off 25th Avenue.
That sounds about right.
That was close to Ski Barbecue.
You know, I don't know where Skeets was then either.
He was about no more than 2 doors north of 957. That was the same side of the street.
Skeets started in a house?
Yeah, in the house.
I did not know that.
He in the house. He sold barbecue on weekends. Out the back of, he had his barbecue pit in the back of the house, and that's where he sold barbecue all night on Friday and Saturday.
I did not know that.
And then a little bit, and then just a little bit later, do you vaguely remember when Mama went down to 922 or
923?
923?
I don't remember that. My memory is her at 923. I had no memory of her before that.
Okay, well, she left 957 and went down to 923.
Okay.
And 923, she was right across. You and her were right across the street from each other, weren't you?
She used to spy on us when we were little kids, so we didn't like that.
But she lived right across the street, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, okay, then I forget the people that Johnny Reese bought that house from.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
I forget them, but I remember when they did it. And then that's where you and your mother and father lived, and his mother was right across the street. And that's when May and Joe came to town. May, Joe, and brother.
They all came together?
They came together. We left them down there. They came after that me and Reese and Johnny went to Arkansas to pick up Jeannie and Mary. Then we left Brother, Joe, and May in Arkansas. And later on, that's when they came here. And Mama was down on 923. Did you remember the lady lived next door to Mother? I believe that, I forget her name.
Miss Jerner? Miss Jerner?
Miss Jerner, yeah.
Well, y'all had to spend nights at her house.
Yeah, but she lived right across the street there.
Oh, yeah. Now, she really would spy on us. So she had the big glass windows, that look right in our backyard. We couldn't get away with anything.
Yeah, that was Miss Jerner. I just forgot her name, but I remember she lived right there.
Oh, yeah, I know her. I knew her well.
You know her well, okay.
So what was your house like in Arkansas? What was it like living there?
When you get used to it, you don't know when you're living bad.
So you think y'all were
living bad, so you don't know. But the house it was a pretty good house. It wasn't the last house, but when I left to go to the Navy. Then I sent my mother on logic for every month I was in the Navy. And then while I was gone, land was pretty cheap. So they bought a house over on, we call it the old highway, Highway US 67. And when I got back, they built a new house over there, what they called a couple of 3 acres of land. And that was a new house. But it out in the country, then you can't keep the mosquitoes out of them. So we just closed the door. We had a little bed, but with mosquito nets hanging all over. That's to keep the mosquitoes out. But that's the way we kept. Besides that, cool when the wind would blow, it's cool, and it gets very hot. We didn't have no air conditioning, no electric lights at the time. Go to church sometimes, we forget to go to church. I had fans in church. We forget to leave them at church. We bring them home with fans with us.
Them hand fans.
Huh?
Them hand fans, right?
Hand fans, yeah, they had a hand fan.
Yeah.
That's what we had to have. That's what we had to keep cool. Running well right down about a half a block from us.
So your water came from the well.
The water came from a running well.
What about the bathroom? What would you do about that?
I had tubs. We had bathing tubs. We had tubs numbers 1, 2, and 3. That was the size. So we had number 1 tub, number 2 tub. Number 3 tub was the largest one. That's where we get in the tub, take a bath. Y'all ain't nobody heard about no shower out there.
Did y'all have an outhouse?
Yeah, that's the only thing I had was outhouse. There was no inside plumbing. Outhouse.
So who dug the outhouse?
Oh, I guess Miss Dodson did it for, maybe Clyde probably helped him while I was gone.
Okay.
But otherwise it would be me and Miss Dodson.
So tell me this. If you didn't go to the military, if you didn't go to service, do you think you would ever move from Arkansas?
I doubt it very seriously.
And the thing, you saw some things when you're in the military. I guess you heard people talking, and that's what made it so you wanted to go try something else?
Yes, heard him talking. You know, I kind of, especially when I was in school, I kind of got the name on Nebraska with the unit camera here. You know, I mentioned that's the only state in the unit that didn't have 2 houses. I kind of got stuck on that just a little bit. But had I not gone to the military and heard the other guys discussing what was going on in the big cities, I didn't know they was all probably working out of the country. But that kind of spurred me also.
So what school did you go to that taught you about these states? You know, I've always heard that the schools in the South were pretty bad. And
I went to a school name was Guernsey High.
Guernsey High. So who's your teacher that taught you that?
Professor Walker.
Professor Walker.
Professor Walker was my high school teacher, and my grade school teacher, well, they call it middle school here, when up to 8th grade was Professor Briggs.
Briggs?
Briggs, B-R-I-G-G-S, Professor Briggs.
Okay. Mama talked about her aunt teaching her when she was a girl.
Oh, yeah, that was Annie.
And what did she?
Annie?
Did she teach you too?
Mm-hmm.
What grade?
First grade to about the 4th, 5th, somewhere in that first grade. She was my very first teacher.
She was, okay. Now Annie went to Michigan. She left too.
Yeah, she went to Michigan. And Annie, now when she was teaching, she had to walk at least about 4 miles a day to school. And I live about a mile and a half to 2 miles on the way, so she'd come by and get me, and then we head on up to the school. And she had to walk at least about 4 miles. That was in Annie. And I don't know, but I ain't finished no 12th grade. I do believe. I can't swear to it, but I don't think he finished no 12th grade.
You don't think Annie finished 12th grade?
I don't think so.
So how'd she end up as a teacher?
Well, back in those days, those people didn't want black folks to learn. I didn't care. They just say, they come out here, this person in the school, 6, 7, 8 years, or 8th grade. They put them right on in the school. Let them teach black kids. They didn't tell us about it, so that was normal.
Okay. Mike, you got any questions?
If Illinois. She went to St. Louis. I went to St. Louis out there around in the mid-30s. And she stayed there. And I went in service in 43. When I got back from service, she left Michigan and she left St. Louis, Illinois, and then she went over to Michigan. She drove to Michigan.
So, another question. What happened to your daddy? When did he leave, and then what happened?
Daddy left us in 19... the best thing I can say is, I don't guess what year he left, but Rita was born in
32.
32.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy never saw Rita. Now, was it up in late 31 or early 32? I really don't know.
He never met her?
He never seen Rita in his life.
Wow.
He's gone before Rita was born.
Okay.
And he went to St. Louis.
You know why he left?
No, I don't know why he left. I was only 7 years old. I was 6. I was 32. I was 6 years old. I got 32. I never did find out why he left. I don't know where he left us. Then I did hear that he tried to get Mama to go, and she wouldn't come up there, and she wouldn't come.
So he wasn't leaving her. He left, and he wanted her to come with him.
Well, I heard after he got up there, I heard that he had tried to get her to come, and she wouldn't come. She wouldn't go.
Okay.
And he got a job. They told me it was a grave digging job. He was digging graves. That was his job. And he had a brother there, which was Uncle Ivory. Uncle Ivory worked at a paper mill there. And my dad, he worked grave digging. And I had uncle on my mother's side. He was working at the paper mill. So I had two uncles working. One on my dad's side, one on my mother's side. They were working.
So that uncle on your mama's side, uncle on their mama's side, what was his name?
His name was Joe Cox.
And when he come to Omaha and he had this woman with real fancy hats, did he bring with him? Real fancy dressed people, and he also wore hats and stuff?
Yeah, he wore hats and stuff. That was him. Yeah, he came to Omaha.
A tall woman.
That one I couldn't really. Okay, she was tall there. I remember he came to Omaha. I know once.
I remember this man coming. He's dark-skinned man. And I remember a hat, and there was a woman with him that had, she wear these, she also wore hats.
Okay, well,
I can't think it's just a picture in my head.
well, that had to be Uncle Joe
Yeah.
from St. Louis.
Okay.
My other uncle didn't come up out. That was my mother's brother. That was him, Uncle Joe.
Did Joe have kids in St. Louis?
No, he didn't have no child. He didn't have a child in the world.
Okay.
Uncle Joe didn't have any children.
What about Ira?
Uncle Ira didn't have any either.
Wow. Okay.
And I had Uncle Clement, he had no children. And Mother had a brother. These are my dad. Uncle Ivory, Uncle Clement, and those my father's brothers. Those two had no children. And then my Uncle Joe and Uncle Milton, that's my mother's brothers, they had no children. And Uncle Milton was in Connecticut. He passed us all up. He went to Connecticut.
And he had no kids?
Had no kids.
Okay. All right.
And my father, I was told that they was on a drinking party one night. He got poisoned. That's what I was told.
Okay. He got poisoned in St. Louis.
In St. Louis. Correct.
You know where he's buried?
I believe they buried. I am not sure. I think they buried him. I don't recall him coming home. They bringing him home. I don't recall him.
Okay.
I just can't recall him. They bringing him home to bury. I'll ask Dorothy that.
Yeah.
I would remember it.
Okay. Now, who's older? You're older than Dorothy, right?
Correct.
Okay. So if you don't remember, you expect her to remember?
Well, sometimes, sometimes girls remember. It worked me to death when they kept me moving. So sometimes girls can remember some things, but I don't. I remember when they had it came, I told me that he passed, and it was in the summertime, and I was getting ready to walk about 3-4 miles back in the woods, try to find a job. They had some kind of job over there with paper, with pine wood, and I was getting up early that morning to walk over there to go to try to get a job in. I was going to ask for a job. I didn't get it. And Anna came by and told us that my dad had passed, and she had to get by early in the morning because the bus was running that time of day. I mean, bus cut off by 4 o'clock. And so that's how I found that out, and when they aimed to put us out, then I told Mom I was going to go there. She said, no, right. I said, no, Dad is going. So ain't no use to,
So
I got to go to work. Dad is going.
yeah, you still got to work.
I got to find a job. I got to go to work. And I was about 12,
Wow.
37, 38 grand in that area.
So I'm gonna let you go in a minute, but I got one last question for you, okay?
Okay.
Mama talks about being given away when she was a little girl,
Mm-hmm.
and she said that you wouldn't let that happen. Can you tell me about that story?
That story about she was given away, I believe, to Miss Wood. I mean, Miss Buddy Thomas, I think.
So when she says given away, what does that mean?
That means Mom told her, well, this is your girl, you can take her. She live with you. And so
So why did she do that?
well, I really don't know, because let's see, it was about 5 or 6 of us. I don't know. And so she gave her away. And I told her, oh, no. So I went and got her.
You told her what?
I didn't walk. She told me she wanted to come home. And so, wanted me to come get her. So, Mom done gave her to Mr. Betty Thomas, so I said, no. She said she wanted to come home, so I went and got her.
How old were you?
I was probably about 12, 13 then. I'm not exactly sure. Just the year that was.
How come your mama couldn't say, no, you can't go get her?
Well, I really didn't ask her. She told me she wanted to come home. So went on and got her. Already said that.
You know how long she stayed there?
Oh, you mean over with Miss Thomas?
Yeah.
No, I'm not exactly sure how long she stayed over there. But she asked me to come get her. So we know in the country, you see everybody when you go to church every Sunday. And then we just walk the woods every time you get ready. Go fishing or wherever you want to go. And so.
Okay. Well, Mama never forgot that. And, she always was grateful that you did that. You know that, don't you?
Right. She never did.
No, she never will forget that. Never did forget that.
Never did. Right.
To the point where she told us. So, we appreciate it. I guess things wouldn't be how they are had you not done that.
Yeah, well.
All right.
They followed me around. When I tried to when I could, till it got too big. Then we had to go pick peas, peanuts, and give them folks barn and whatever they had to harvest. We go in, we pick them a bucket, and they give us a bucket. We go in them cornfields on a Saturday after school. That's how we got meal.
So you're like sharecropping.
To the mill running in the meal.
Mm. So this is sharecropping.
Right, we were sharecropping.
Okay. And that's all y'all knew.
Yeah, that's all we did. We didn't really when we sharecropping. We didn't have to buy nothing. We buy flour, sugar, bacon, salt, and baking powder, stuff like that. Flour, sugar,
And everything else you make fresh. Everything else you get off the garden or get off the farm.
everything else we raised it, got it from the ground. We
Okay.
raised the hog, half killed calf for beef, killed a hog for pork, killed a chicken, killed duck. They got the eggs and milk from the cows. So that's all we really had to buy with. So flour, sugar, salt, and pepper.
Okay. You know, you're making me hungry.
Well, go down, we go hunting for our rabbit and squirrel, go fishing for our fish.
You know, I was in China about a month ago. And, you know, they eat every part of the cow, every part of the hog. It was like that when you were growing up, right? Y'all ate everything.
Yeah, we ate everything. We ate the inside. We call it chitlins.
Sure.
We ate all. We throw away most of the ham, the hook.
Okay. All right. Well, I got to take off. We may call back with more questions, but I recorded you, just so you know, okay?
Oh, very good. Very good.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the information. Mike, any questions?
You're more than welcome.
Okay. Well, you take care of yourself, and thank you.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you, and you take care of yourself.
Okay. Bye.